Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. You can see by the title, man. Yes, it's actually happening. It's finally happening, man. This fight has been in talks for a long time, and they finally got the deal done. And that's Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Now, originally, I was one of those people, when people was asking me, hey, Rob, are you going to watch the fight? I was like, nah, man, I'm a pugilist of boxing. So I like to watch real boxing and not necessarily, celebrity boxing, if you want to say. But then I got to thinking, I was like, man, why can't boxing be fun as well as competitive in terms of me watching the professional side, but then me watching the entertainment, the celebrity side of it. So before I get into this video, I did want to send out a shout out to Jake Paul. At the end of the day, man, I know Jake Paul gets a lot of flack, a lot of hate, and he talks a lot of noise. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he knows how to sell. He knows how to put eyes on him. But I do want to thank him for one, giving the champ Mike Tyson a payday, as well as giving other fighters that he's fought in the past paydays too. Some of them probably bigger paydays than they ever made in their career at one time. But I want to give him a shout out today, and also kind of just directing eyes back to boxing and making boxing a little bit more popular in today's era. Then obviously, I want to send a shout out to Mike Tyson, man. Mike Tyson has, in a sense, paved the way for a lot of current day fighters, and I like how he's still involved. I love to hear him talk the game of boxing, and he deserves to get him a paycheck. Now, with that being said, so I decided to kind of break it down a little bit. So I got the fight date and everything broke down. So the fight date is actually Friday, November 15th. Now, originally, it was said that the fight was supposed to have been in August, but they didn't want to, because it's at AT&T Stadium, which is home of Dallas Cowboys. They didn't want it to interfere with one of the Cowboys games. So in November, the Cowboys will be away, so they'll be fighting then. And it's surprising that I seen that they're actually streaming the fight on Netflix. And it was like, plan will require to watch you will have to have a Netflix subscription to watch it, obviously, and that would be starting at $6.99, which is weird because I think when I first got Netflix, it was $10. But anyways, we don't get into that. But here's the rules of this fight. So this sanctioned fight, approved by Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations, will consist of 8 2-minute rounds instead of the usual 3-minute rounds. Both boxers will wear 14-ounce gloves, heavier than the standard gloves. The betting odds in terms of the fight right now, as of August 20, odds from DraftKings gives Paul an edge as we look to the future of the fight. And then we have to tell the tape. So I'm going to go back to the rules of the fight. So normally it will be 3 rounds. It's 2 rounds. Now, here's the thing. We all know what Mike Tyson is about. We've seen Mike Tyson, beat some of the biggest guys, some of the biggest, behemoths, the biggest gladiators in history. Trevor Burbick, what's my man name? The guy he beat up in the street, Mitch Green. There was another big guy he beat up too. I forgot that guy's name, but that guy took a beating in that fight. But we're all, this is where we're going wrong here, right? We're still looking at this Mike Tyson from 15 to 20, maybe to like 30, 35. If you look at the backstretch of Mike Tyson's career, because of his focus, I would say more so, and just because of Father Time catching up with him, that he wasn't the same Mike we seen early on, which obviously no athlete is for the most part. But it was very visual how much he had took a back step. So let's go back to that. You got Mike Tyson, a guy who has had his fun in life, and I don't want to just put it out there making it seem like he was just this legendary drug addict, but he's lived a life, you know what I mean? He was on drugs at one point, now he doesn't do any of that, he smokes a lot of weed now. But let's just say, how often has Mike Tyson been training? Now, don't get me wrong, I know some of y'all gonna say, Rob, have you seen the videos of him hitting pads? Yeah, I have seen the videos of him hitting pads, but you gotta understand one thing: hitting pads is a completely different than hitting a person who's gonna be moving around. Jake Paul isn't going to sit still and allow for Mike Tyson to load up and punch him. That would be foolish of him to do that. So he's going to move. Jake Paul is probably going to be more mobile in this fight than he was any other fight, right? I mean, that's just common sense. When you're dealing with a power puncher, you don't want to stay right in front of them and give them an easy target. You don't want them to be able to sit down, load up on their shots, because it's going to be a bad day for you. So you want to make yourself less of a target and constantly using movement. Now, in my opinion, Jake Paul is going to have to use his youth. By him being 27, Mike's 57, he'll be turning 58 by the time to fight. So that's 27 versus 58. This is 27 who's been fighting for the last, 3, 4, 5 years now. Granted, you can say, well, he was only fighting MMA guys. I mean, yeah, and he was bringing MMA guys into this restricted fighting rules in terms of they're used to grappling, elbows, kicking and stuff, but now it's all about punching. But you still got to have guts to get in there with those guys, you know what I mean? And he's got in there and he's looked good in a lot of those fights. Now, granted, he did fight the one guy, I think that was Tyson Fury's younger brother, who, when he actually ran up on a boxer, you seen him have trouble, but you got to think that guy's young. Mike is 58 years old, man. Do you think that this is not the same Mike that we knew? This is not the same Mike that said, I want to punch your nose and make your bone go up to your brain and kill you. It's not that same Mike. If you watch any of Mike interviews, Mike will tell you it's not the same Mike. He says sometimes he missed that Mike, but it's just not the same Mike. So I like it from an entertainment aspect because it's just like, to me, I look at it almost as a paid sparring match. You know what I mean? You don't have headgear on or anything like that, but I look at it as a paid sparring match. Now, granted, we do know that Mike Tyson has some of the best knockout power we've ever seen in boxing history. So the quote is always this when it comes to boxing: everybody stands a puncher's chance, which you really do. If you come out there, and we've seen it happen, if you're a better prime example, I know it's not boxing, but look at MMA. You remember when Anderson Silva fought Chris Weidman, and he was doing all that playing, and Chris Weidman ended up catching him and beat him. Was Chris Weidman a better fighter than Anderson Silva? Absolutely not. But he started playing, and that's what cost him, him to lose the fight. So every fight is, a person has a fighter's chance, you know what I mean? And that's the thing we got to hope too, is that, Mike Tyson doesn't go into this fight underestimating Jake Paul, because at the end of the day, I understand that a lot of people do not like Jake Paul for whatever reasons you don't like him for, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we have to give credit where credit's due. I'm a boxer pugilist. I love the sport of boxing, right? Jake Paul can actually fight. A lot of people that's sitting behind screens and saying, oh, he's this, he suck, he this and that. I guarantee Jake Paul will probably knock half of y'all out in under a minute because y'all do not know how to fight. Now, if he's doing this to professional fighters, granted, regardless of the restrictions that they're within, these guys still know how to take punches to a degree. They've been taking them all their life. Some of them worse than punches, knees and kicks and elbows. You see what I'm saying? So we have to acknowledge the fact that Jake Paul is a threat. Now, if this was prime Jake Paul, Jake Paul is in his prime, he's 27. If this was prime Mike, this video wouldn't even be made, and it wouldn't be made because Jake would have never took that fight because he knew he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he sees an old, broken down, brittle Mike Tyson. Man, we've seen a lot of clips on YouTube just as well. We've seen him hitting pads. We've seen him having to walk around with a stick. You know what I mean? It was rumored that he wasn't able to walk for a while, and they was having to be pushed around in a wheelchair. And I think that's what originally stopped their original fight when they supposed to be fighting the first time. So my thing is this: a part of me, I want to say that, I'm really excited because I want Mike to make the money. But at the same time, I think that if Mike loses this fight, now if he gets knocked out, now losing a fight, I don't think so. But because, it's expected. Now, I don't think any of us are anticipating Jake Paul to knock him out, which I don't believe so. From what we've seen with Mike Tyson have took some punches from some of the heaviest hitters throughout the history of the sport, and he was never just knocked out cold. He'd been put on his back, but I'm talking about he ain't been put to sleep. So I don't think any of us anticipating that, but if the fight go to distance, that's understandable. And then you got to think too, the last time Mike fought was in 2020 when he fought Roy Jones Jr. Granted, he was fighting another boxing legend, but it was a lot of people saying that fight was crap, that they didn't look the same. You know what I mean? So, and it's obviously it's mother time. These guys aren't in the gym training 365 days a year no more. They might go to the gym every now and then, but they're not in the gym doing that stuff every day. Now, I don't know how often Jake Paul is doing it, but I guarantee he's doing it a lot more often than Mike Tyson. So those are things that we got to take into consideration. Now, if Mike Tyson is knocked out or even knocked down to a degree, I do feel like that affects his credibility, man, because you got to look at Floyd. Floyd fought Logan Paul, who was fucking 2 times the size of Floyd, and Logan wasn't able to hurt Floyd. Obviously, it's Floyd, and that was an older Floyd. Same thing, but obviously Floyd is a lot younger fighting Logan than Mike is fighting Jake. But I'm just saying he wasn't able to really hurt him. So, but if Jake is able to hurt Mike or drop Mike or even put Mike to sleep, I think that hurts Mike's legacy in a lot of ways, man, because most people aren't going to be able to overlook the fact that you lost to an influencer, a guy who just started doing this. Now, I think in terms of boxing, in terms of Mike's knowledge for the game of boxing, it doesn't require a lot of training for him because he still knows things. He knows how to work angles. He knows how to manage distance. So all of those things aren't going to change. And those are things that Jake Paul hasn't experienced to that magnitude because he hasn't been fighting boxers. He's been fighting either athletes or he's been fighting MMA fighters, which they know how to manage distance in an MMA ring when they can use kicks and all that. But in a boxing ring where it's just this, it's a lot more difficult, man. You don't see MMA guys slipping punches. And how Mike, the peekaboo, he hasn't dealt with that yet. He hasn't dealt with a fighting stance like that, a peekaboo stance that's coming in, it's constant head moving. They know how, how Mike know how to pivot, all that. So it's going to be elements of it that Jake Paul is not used to, but at the same time, Mike's body is incapable of that going on for rounds upon rounds. Now, granted, the first 2 rounds probably will be kind of rough for Jake, you know what I mean? But I think if the fight goes in later rounds, probably after round 3 or 4 maybe, then I think it's going to go more so towards Jake in because, obviously, due to the inactivity, you can't play this. Like, boxing is one of them things you can play. Like, you have to be in this on a consistent basis because of fighting is one of the most, it's almost like soccer, man. It's constant movement. Like, whether you striking or whether you on the defense trying to, avoid shots, trying to put yourself in positions to, be able to dish out punishment. So it's very conditioning. But like I said, if you ask me, I think that Jake Paul is probably going to win this fight, honestly, going to decision. I don't see a knockout happening. And if I see it, and if a knockout does happen, then they don't look good on Mike's belt. I'm just going to be honest. But that's my take on it. I'm going to chime in a little bit more on it as we get closer to the fight, too. So, we're going to stay tuned. Also, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you team Jake. Let me know if you team Tyson. Or let me know if you team Tyson, but you think Jake gonna win, or if you team Jake, you think Tyson gonna win, let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear another take on this as well outside of mine. And depending on what some of y'all tell me, I might make another video, come back and address something. So we're gonna see. But that is it for this video, man. If you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that post notification bell where you be notified every time I upload, man. I got these videos coming back to back, day to day, like the Coach Drizzy Drake say, man, I got these videos coming back to back. I'll see y'all in this video. I'm out this thing. Peace.